Déjame ver. Hola y bienvenidos otra vez a Spanish Blueprints live stream. This is the third live stream de este canal. Estoy súper emocionado para estar aquí y para compartir con ustedes mi experiencia, consejos y todo lo que tiene que ver con español. And today specifically is Spanish Reflection Sunday. And basically what Spanish Reflection Sunday is one of my favorite days of the week because this is one of my main methods for increasing my Spanish skills. So basically with Spanish Reflection Sunday, the first thing I start with, like when I wake up on Sunday, is asking myself a few questions. And a few of these questions are, what did I accomplish / study this past week for Spanish? What did I learn? Does the study schedule work for me? And like, did I actually have adequate time to dedicate this to my Spanish studies? Do I enjoy my study methods, or did I enjoy my study methods, and what can I do differently? So these simple questions right here have helped me so much during my Spanish learning journey. Especially this year. I just started doing this year at the beginning of this year, like I think in January, when I was doing the 30-day record yourself challenge, and it has helped me just so much because. Well, let's start with the first question, and then you'll see how important it is and how much it's going to help you increase your Spanish skills and help you reach your language goals. Y hola for all those who are coming in. So for the first one, what did I accomplish? What did I study? So this past week, the first thing that I did, so last Sunday was I went to my salsa dancing classes. And this, I would consider this activity learning Spanish because I actually do learn Spanish. Number one, because it's at a discoteca and they're primarily playing Spanish music. So they play merengue, they play salsa, bachata, they play cumbia, Tejano music, so a little bit of everything. And mostly I've been going there for like, the first thing I do when I do go to these discotecas is I take my salsa dancing classes. So every Sunday I've been doing that, and that's about for an hour and a half usually. So during these classes, we do a couple of steps, we learn a few steps from the instructor who speaks Spanish and he speaks English because we have like a mixed class. So some of us speak only English, and some of us speak Spanish and English. Some of us just speak Spanish. So it's really nice to have these other students like this whole mixed class, because sometimes the instructor will speak Spanish to us, and then other times he'll speak English to us. So it just kind of depends on how he's feeling, I suppose. So we do that. So we go through a few steps that he teaches us, and after that he'll play some music, and then we're still doing these steps but by ourselves. And then after that we grab a partner in this class, and then we start dancing with our partners. Now this is really fun because I get to practice my Spanish with multiple people, like multiple people who I'm dancing with my dance partners, because some of them speak Spanish. So I'll say that is a very hard part of dancing, is communication. So it's actually really related to my Spanish studies. Y hola for all those who are coming in. Yo tengo una encuesta también. Are you satisfied with the progress you made last week? So that's just with your Spanish studies. So once you grab a partner, or once I grab a partner when I'm dancing, we practice basically, what we just went over, and then I try to communicate with them sometimes in Spanish, and sometimes I don't. But it can be really tricky when I do that because the music is really loud and they can't usually hear me. So usually, I think sometimes when you are dancing, you have to just I mean, technically you are supposed to guide them kind of like with your hands and like with your body and things like that. So if you want them to go forward, you push them like that. If you want them to come forward, I push them. I would like bring them closer to me. So that is one really fun aspect of dancing, where I get to practice my Spanish. That I'm also listening to Spanish music at the same time. So there's a lot going on. And then I'm trying to count in Spanish, and that's really difficult when you're dancing, in case you didn't realize, because you're doing all these different steps, but then you count, for example, you're counting in Spanish at the same time, and then you have to guide someone else while you're dancing and communicate with them. So I've been trying to practice doing that all in Spanish just to kind of challenge myself, and it is very difficult. So I usually have to switch to English a lot of the times, just because I don't know a lot of words when it comes to dancing. All right, you got kind of. So are you satisfied with the progress you made last week? Kind of. Tell me why in the chat. I always love to know the answer to this question for people. For me, I say I'm fairly satisfied with my progress, but I make sure that I am. If I ever feel like I'm not satisfied, I have to train my mind to say, no, you are satisfied with your progress. Because I don't want to get into a mode where I'm just like sad all the time, basically. That's why I always encourage people to be satisfied with your Spanish progress. Hace calor. Cullerton, I think I could put more time into learning more words. Oh, me too. I feel the same exact way. That's difficult. I guess it depends on what type of words you're learning too. Some words for me are harder to learn than others. Like if we want to have a conversation right now about like gym, like being in the gym and lifting weights, for me that's very difficult to do. So what type of vocabulary are you trying to learn right now? Right now, I'm learning or trying to learn vocabulary related to barbershop, being at the barbershop, and like being able to talk about hair and different hairstyles. I'm trying to learn gym vocabulary, then also cooking vocabulary. So a little bit of everything. But that's my issue. There's always so much I'm trying to learn at one time. And I think that's probably one of my biggest issues in general. This whole year, in the past 2 years, I never know exactly what I want to study. I want to study everything all at one time, but that is a terrible method of learning Spanish. Well, I think for some people it might work. I mean, the biggest issue with that is you don't. The biggest issue with that is just that you don't. I guess maybe you don't necessarily start studying like a certain topic. I guess it's probably the worst thing about it. Or you kind of just study whatever without having too much focus. All right, Colton says basic words and phrases to communicate on job sites with Spanish speakers. Oh wow, construction related. Oh wow, that's awesome. Communicate on job sites. Like what kind of construction related? I don't know too many vocabulary words related to construction, honestly. I think what might help. Actually, I was trying to do this last year was learn vocabulary that's like related to different materials. So you have brick, you have like stone, brick. Oh man, well like brick, stone, and then like different types of rocks and things like that. I don't know. It depends on what type of like job site that you're working on. I don't know exactly, but that may help. And then maybe the Spanish speakers they might get really specific with the machines, or they might just call them like la máquina, which is just machine. So that might help. Other than that, yeah, I don't know. I really don't know too much construction construction vocabulary, honestly. I wish I did. But I learned really fast from like my ITALKI lesson how important it is, because let's say if you're talking about like if you want like to build a house or get an apartment or something like that, then trying to understand, you know, like what the apartment is made out of, what the house is made of, that's actually really important. Are you satisfied with the progress? Got 2 votes. Got 1, yes I am, and got 1 kind of. I'll put my vote in as well. You won't be able to see it, but I'll put mine as yes I am as well. I'll say anytime's a win when I go to my Spanish, when I go to my salsa dance classes. I'm always satisfied when I go there because they're always playing a lot of music. But for anybody who's joining right now, I've been talking about Spanish Reflection Sunday, which is something I've been doing since the beginning of this year, which is basically every Sunday I take time to reflect on what I did in the previous week with my Spanish studies. And this has been like one of the best methods for me to increase my Spanish skills, because then I can figure out, you know, what I should be doing, what has worked, what hasn't worked, and that's going to increase my productivity. For example, with like Coach in here, you know, he says that I think. Oh, sorry, I don't know if you're he or she, but I think I could put more time into learning more words. So that's kind of what Spanish Reflection Sunday is all about. Is, you know, figuring out, you know, what type of Spanish study routine that you would like in the next week coming forward. So you don't have to be unsatisfied with your progress, but you can, you know, always be satisfied with your progress. And then in my case, you know, I always also write down, you know, what did I accomplish, what did I study in the previous week. For me, you know, I did a decent amount of things. I had my salsa dance class starting on Sunday, so I learned some new words. I learned some new phrases related to dancing, and then also I'm listening to Spanish music at the same time, and also communicating with Spanish speakers all in this one place. So I get a lot of exposure to Spanish culture and to different music from different countries. And then let's see what else. Then also had my iTalki lesson this week as well. I've been trying to do that at least once a week. I think for the past month, I've been pretty consistent. That lasts for like an hour long. And I've been doing this in the form of a podcast, which you've probably seen on my YouTube channel so far. Let's see what else. Been talking with one of my Dominican friends that I met at the gym. Thankfully, I met this Dominican guy at the gym, so we've been talking for like the past month, and I've been learning a lot from him about Dominican Spanish, and then, you know, it's like about his life and stuff like that. So we get to connect and, you know, share a little bit of each other's culture. So that's pretty fun. And let's see what else. We talk about dancing because he dances. He used to teach Zumba. We talk about like different haircut styles. We talk about weightlifting. And that's been one of my biggest goals, actually. So it's kind of nice that I have someone to be able to talk to about that stuff. Because for me, talking about like the technical aspect of weightlifting, like different verbs and, you know, the nouns and adjectives related to weightlifting, for me, it has been very challenging because there's a lot to say. I didn't read that much. Actually, I didn't read my book at all. Corazón tan blanco. I wish I did, but I didn't. So that's something I really got to get on. I haven't been reading that much this whole year. I actually started this book back in March, and unfortunately, I haven't finished yet. So that's a little embarrassing. But I've been putting other things first, I would say. So for example, I've been putting like more watching YouTube videos, listening to Spanish music, talking with my friends, my Spanish speaking friends from Guatemala, from Dominican Republic, from Cuba. And so I just haven't been fitting in my book reading time, which I should, because I know that is like one of the best ways, I think, for all Spanish students but then also for me to increase my vocabulary, which is what I want, to increase my understanding of grammar as well. Helps a lot with that because of repetition. But I haven't been reading that much. So I need to start reading. I need to make that priority every single day. At least read like a page or 2 pages every single day. You honestly don't have, if you have a book in Spanish right now, you don't have to read like a chapter every single day. You don't have to read even 10 pages a day. If you can just read like maybe 5 pages a day or even 2 pages a day, I'm telling you, like that adds up, and it's going to help you with your memory a lot, even if it's just 2 pages a day. What else? Let's see. Yeah, I didn't write that much this week. Like I didn't journal or anything like that. But I mean, I usually take notes in Spanish sometimes. So I just kind of write out some whatever thoughts. If I'm making a YouTube video, that might be in Spanish sometimes. And other than that, I haven't been doing too much journaling, but I want to do more of that. Let's see. Talking with my friends from Cuba. Y bienvenidos for all those who are coming in. Let me know where you're from, what country you're from, and how long you've been learning Spanish for too in the chat. That's something I would like to know. And then right now, I'm just talking about what I studied last week because it's Spanish Reflection Sunday. And that is just where I ask myself a few different questions so I can do like a nice little review session of, everything that I studied last week for Spanish. So yeah, let me know in the chat where are you from and how long you've been studying Spanish for. Derek M. ¿De dónde eres? So ¿de dónde eres? Where are you from? Oh, ¿de qué país? ¿De qué país? Oh, ¿en qué país vives? Like in what country do you live in? There's a lot of different ways to say it. Spanish is like very flexible like that. ¿De dónde vives? ¿De dónde eres? ¿De dónde es? Sí, es en la forma de usted. La forma de usted, ¿de dónde es? ¿De qué país vienes? A lot of different ways. Derek, en mi casa, por supuesto. Let's see. So I've been talking a lot with Cubanos, so Spanish speakers from Cuba, and I honestly do not understand them that very much at all. Let's see. I met Cubans for the first time in my life about 2 months ago at the gym, and I still haven't really grasped the way that they speak. It's very difficult for me because I never met a Cuban, somebody from Cuba until this year. I probably understand when there's like a group of Cubanos together and they're speaking, I can probably understand maybe 20%, honestly. I'm not even gonna lie. Like the number is very low. It's very difficult for me to understand those Cubanos. Like their accent, I don't know how to explain it. I know they do roll their R's a lot. It's very hard for me to describe their accent, but it's different from a lot of other ones that I've heard before in the past. Like it's definitely different from como los puertorriqueños, different from los dominicanos, and I thought it was going to be similar, but it's actually very different. So that's kind of what I'm working on right now. No, yo vivo en Texas. Soy tejano. But yeah, for all those who are joining, let me know de qué país es. So what country you're from y cuánto tiempo llevas estudiando español? How long have you been studying Spanish for? Let me know in the chat. Para mí, yo soy de los Estados Unidos. Yo nací aquí, yo crecí aquí. Ok, bueno. Derek vive en San Antonio. Esto es en el sur de Texas, yo creo. En el sur de Texas. Algo así. ¿En el medio? No sé. nací y crecí en los Estados Unidos y bueno, yo empecé a practicar o estudiar español cuando tenía 13 años. So it's been a little bit. But I was taking formal classes. I like to say I technically started to learn Spanish like 3 years ago because before that I was only taking Spanish in like class in the formal classroom settings. I count those, but I wasn't speaking. I couldn't understand Spanish speakers at all. So, I mean, technically I count it, but just like the basic things. The past 3 years, I've been learning Spanish all on my own. Besides my ITALKI lessons. ¿Y cuánto tiempo llevan estudiando español? How long have y'all been studying Spanish for? And where did you start learning Spanish? And then right now we have 6 votes for are you satisfied with the progress you made last week? 17% says yes I am, 50% says kind of, and 33% are unsure if they are satisfied. So there's nothing wrong with that at all. I force myself to be satisfied with my progress so I don't be sad all week. Derek M., yo aprendo español por 1 año y medio. Okay. Qué bueno. So you've been studying Spanish for a year and a half. Charlie's Spanish Journey. Yo empecé en septiembre 2009. Ay, 2000. Los números me complican. 2000, 2019. Con Duolingo y Rosetta Stone. Ok, ¿cuál es la diferencia entre Duolingo y Rosetta Stone? ¿Cuál es la mejor aplicación? Yo no sé. What's better, Duolingo or Rosetta Stone? I think Rosetta Stone has more, do you think, than Duolingo? Like more lessons and it's more professional, or I don't know. I know Rosetta Stone has been around for like a long time. It's like one of the main, or like probably like one of the oldest language learning companies that we had, right? That like are really popular language learning programs. I think in the U.S. I don't know if it's a U.S. company or not, but I can look it up. Really, you think Duolingo has more? Oh wow! Now that surprises me. But I also have never met anyone who has studied with Rosetta Stone before either. I've never met anybody besides you. Tú eres la primera persona que yo conozco, que yo he conocido. Roxanne J. Es de Estados Unidos, Chicago, en el estado de Chicago. Está estudiando 6 meses en la escuela 30 años. Ok. Hace 30 años. Okay. So you took Roxanne, you took like a long break basically. So you were learning Spanish like when you were in school, and then you just started recently? 6 months ago again? And then Charlie's Spanish Journey, I really like the Rosetta Stone, but never finished it. Okay. That's good to know. I'll check it out. I don't think I've ever even visited their website before. The only language learning apps I've used is Duolingo, but I mostly use that for French and not for Spanish. Duolingo and then iTalki. I use iTalki for Spanish a lot, for Spanish conversation. Other than that, I don't use too many other applications for lessons. I never taken like an intermediate lesson before in Spanish. I've never taken an advanced like course or lesson in Spanish, but I know they exist. I might try one of them one of these days since I've never done it before, just to see how it would be. ¿Qué ciudad vives en Texas? Eso es un secreto, hermano. Eso es un secreto. No voy a decir esto. No voy a revelar esto. Pero yo vivo en Texas. Te digo eso, yo vivo en Texas. Pero Roxanne, did you start studying? Did you start studying again 6 months ago? And that's great that if you are, it's like studying again. Y Charlie, ¿qué tiene Duolingo que Rosetta Stone no tenga? What does Duolingo have that Rosetta Stone doesn't? I'm like rolling my R's for everything. On and off. Okay. Roxanne Jota has been studying Spanish on and off over the years. Years and years. Años y años. Okay. That's awesome though. That's the way it goes for I think most of us. You study Spanish for like 1 year or 2 years in school, and then you're like, oh man, forget this. Then you end up studying again later in your years. Y ahora más serio. On Paul, hola a todos, hola, bienvenidos al Livestream, Spanish Nerd Livestream. Because I'm a Spanish nerd. Básicamente, es lo que yo digo. Déjame ver. I mean, that was with me for a little bit. Not for a little bit, for like a year. Because once I graduated from college, I didn't study that much after I graduated college. I tried, but I wasn't serious whatsoever until like the following year. I started to get more serious about learning Spanish. But that was during like the pandemic, so like I had nothing else to do. If it wasn't the pandemic, then maybe that would have pushed me being more serious about Spanish like later on. I would have been, out and about doing more stuff. But I think the pandemic made me a lot more serious because I was like, oh, there's not much else to do. Let me just study Spanish. Roxanne Jota, I'm using Duolingo, Memrise, Babbel, Destinos workbooks and videos, Dreaming Spanish videos, and soon ITALKI. Okay, that's awesome. Duolingo, I've heard of Memrise before. I downloaded that before. That's pretty nice because there's a lot of good visuals and like the audio recordings are really good. Babbel, I can't remember if I've used that before. I maybe downloaded it and then como yo borré, como inmediatamente. Destinos workbooks, I think I've heard of that before. But could you explain to me like exactly what are contain those workbooks? Videos and videos, Dreaming Spanish videos. I've watched those before because I've been trying to learn more of the Castilian accent de España, el acento castellano. I like the creator of Dreaming Spanish. He's a really good speaker. I've been learning a lot from him. Derek says, Derek M. Tienes reunión o hablas con otros YouTubers, por ejemplo, con Mike Ben. So I never talked with him before. I actually didn't know. I never watched his channel until I think this year, actually. There's one YouTuber that I have a video with, and it's let me bring it up. And then I'll send it to you. She's a language coach. It is in the podcast that I made, the podcast video. I think it should be the third episode. So you can hear her story of how she learned Spanish and how she learned her other languages. And I'll put that in the chat here. So other than her, I have not really collaborated with any other YouTubers. Besides Naya, I have not. Well, let me think real quick. Let me double check. So it's only been Naya. Other than that, yeah, most of the videos have been with my iTalki tutors. And I'll put this in the chat for you so you can see. So that is a YouTuber that I have talked with and in one of my videos. And then John Paul, I definitivamente me equivoco mucho con la pronunciación de tu nombre. Y lo siento. Perdóname. I'll probably not say, if I say your name incorrectly, just let me know. I mean, I probably won't be able to get it. But yeah, at least I'll know que me equivoqué. ¿Sabes cómo se llama el payaso de playa? No, no sé qué es eso. Es ¿cómo se llama el payaso? ¿Cómo se llama el payaso de playa? What is that exactly? I'm not sure what that is. Playazo. No, no tengo ni idea qué es eso. ¿Es una canción, un libro o qué? ¿Cómo se llama? Like the pronunciation? La pronunciación o qué? Playazo. Playazo. No sé. De playa. But it sounds kind of cool. El playazo de playa. Ah, no, es un chiste, ok. No sabía. No lo había escuchado aún, hasta ahora. ¿Sabes cómo se llama el payaso de playa? Ok, no, el payaso. Dímelo. ¿Cuál es la respuesta correcta? And for all those who are joining, bienvenidos a mi live stream. Y déjame saber de dónde es, de cuál país. De cuál país es y también cuánto tiempo llevas estudiando español. How long you've been studying Spanish for and what country you're from. En mi caso, saludos de los Estados Unidos. Yo tengo como 13 años 13 años más o menos estudiando español. Con muchas brechas en mi camino. Right now we have 8 votes for the question. Are you satisfied with the progress you made last week? We have 25% saying yes, I am. 38% saying kind of. 25% saying they're unsure, and 12% saying not at all. Not at all. I would say to always train your mind to be always satisfied with your Spanish progress, because this is supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be like a terrible experience where you're always sad because you're not reaching your goals. It shouldn't be like that. Or at least if it has been like that, we need to find a way to make it less stressful and less, like, I guess, como que make it less stressful. Above all, sobre todo, it should not be that it shouldn't be that kind of experience. I know it has been, or it can be, and it has been like that for me, but I've had to change my mentality a lot so I can not be sad all the time. ¿Cómo mi experiencia con los cubanos? Porque yo no entiendo casi nada siempre. Mira, yo digo que yo entiendo como 15 o 20% de lo que me digan los cubanos, porque su acento es súper diferente, muy distinto que los otros acentos que yo había escuchado en el pasado. Es súper diferente. The accent of Cubans, like Cuban accents, it's so different. I don't know why. I'm trying to figure out why. I'm like, it's strange para mí. Pero, okay, Jean Paul, Ecuador. From Ecuador, I want to learn English. Okay, bueno. ¿Y cuánto tiempo llevas estudiando inglés? I have a Cuban friend who's trying to learn English as well. He's actually just moved here he actually just moved to the US like, I think like 8 months ago from Cuba. Okay. All right, Charlie, Spanish Journey. Adiós, nos vemos pronto. Muchas gracias por venir y ver este video. Y también por ver los otros también. Eso me da mucha alegría. Ok, regresamos a las preguntas. John Paul says, los chilenos también tienen un acento que ni a la gente que habla español los entiende. Sí se pasa, ¿verdad? Se pasa con varios acentos en español. So John Paul says, the Chileans have an accent that neither Spanish speakers can understand. That's funny. Language Learning Lover, hola, muchas gracias por venir. Bienvenidos a la fiesta de hoy, este domingo. Roxanne J, estoy aprendiendo español, pero muy lentamente. Está bien, claro que sí. Eso es el camino correcto, en verdad. Roxanne J says she's learning Spanish, but very slow, and that's good. And I agree. This is not like a fast this is not a fast skill to get. I'll tell you that. It's not fast. Especially for me, I would say with listening comprehension, that's been like the hardest. The hardest for me. Like the past, I would say like I can probably understand maybe 80% of like a TV show that I'm watching on Netflix or something like that. But let's say like 2 years ago or 3 years ago, that was probably like 10%. So I would say listening comprehension, I think in my opinion, is like one of the hardest things to develop, honestly. One of the hardest Spanish skill to develop. Because like speaking skills, right? We can practice that right now. Like we can start practicing our Spanish speaking skills. I can tell you right now, okay, don't say hola, but say hola. And then you start right now. You start saying, okay, I'm gonna start saying hola now, and I won't say hola. So we already corrected how to pronounce the word hola, right? But with listening comprehension, it's como completamente diferente. You really have like you can't just like listen to something over and over and over again 10 times in one day and then expect to understand what what that audio was or understand what that Spanish song was, just in that same day. It could take weeks, it could take up to months for you to even understand like a 1 minute audio. Okay, Roxanne J, yo quiero estudiar para 3 años. So you want to study for 3 years. Uh-huh. Seriosa. Wants to study seriously. Me too. That's the way. Got to be consistent with it. I tell people all the time. You have to be consistent. Like it doesn't have to be. It's challenging, but it doesn't have to be like I was saying before. It doesn't have to be like stressful. You don't have. It needs to be fun. So you can still study seriously. You can study seriously, and you can still have a fun time. You can still have a fun experience, learning Spanish at the same time. Like it's not one or the other. No, it's going to be challenging, but you're going to enjoy the process while you're doing it. So you can do both. Jean Paul says you must know the difference between Cerr and Estar. Sí, claro que sí. He estudiado la diferencia entre ellos muchísimo o muchísimas veces. Roxanne J, yo no sé. You don't know por qué no. Why don't you know? Ser versus estar. Sometimes there's a lot of rules with those two verbs. Like one I kind of forgot this year was that you can say como déjame ver. Como eres sorprendida, algo así. Like you can use ser in that version with adding like an ido at the end of your word. So that's something that I forgot this year. That grammar structure. There's just a lot with ser and estar. Like you wouldn't say like qué tiempo es, right? You would say qué tiempo hace. And you're just like, wait, why? Why would I say hace en lugar de es cuando es significa is en inglés? nos complica con ese tipo de cosas. Ser versus estar. Toma tiempo, en verdad. Toma tiempo. But like I've been studying, I've been studying that for years. So it's a lot easier for me to select which ones I need to use. But what's even more difficult is como utilizándolo o utilizándola en el pasado. Because it's one thing to use those in the present tense, but once you have to go into the past tense, that can be even more challenging, I think. Está difícil o es difícil. Depende del contexto, en verdad. Como que es difícil, como la vida es difícil o la vida está difícil. Depende de lo que quiere decir, lo que quiere transmitir a la otra persona. Claro, yo soy feliz. John Paul, okay, oh yeah, Roxanne J says, está difícil o es difícil. Eso es lo que te queda despierta en la noche. John Paul, yo soy feliz y yo estoy feliz had the same meaning, but it's different at the same time, claro. Y por esa razón, español es difícil. Como estoy feliz es como que, como en este momento, es como me siento, es un sentimiento como ahora mismo. Estoy feliz ahora mismo, pero como mi personalidad es como yo soy feliz, como siempre soy feliz. Estoy feliz como ahora mismo. Si me preguntas ahora mismo, ¿estás feliz? Claro, sí, estoy feliz en este momento. Sí, pero no es fácil, pero como que, I don't know. I've heard some people say, Roxanne Jota says, Espanol no es fácil, it's not easy. Some people say English is like one of the hardest languages to learn, and other people say Spanish is the hardest way to learn. And I hear it coming from both sides. I hear that from English speakers, and I hear that from Spanish speakers as well. They both tell me that. Like if a Spanish speaker is like that I met before, when I'm talking to them and they're talking about them learning English, some of them they tell me, "Oh, learning Spanish is a lot harder than learning English," and I'm like, "Wait, really?" Because I've heard from other people that learning English is a lot harder. So I don't know. ¿Cuál es la verdad? ¿Está muy difícil o es muy difícil? Claro. Ajá. Roxanne J asks, yo soy feliz o estoy feliz o soy feliz. I'm a happy person and estoy feliz, I'm happy now. Sí, básicamente. Yo diría eso es la verdad. Exactamente, como tu personalidad con ser, tu personalidad. Estoy feliz en este momento. Si me pregunta esto, porque mira cómo sería la respuesta. Tuvieras que responder con estar. Por ejemplo, si me pregunta, ¿cómo estás, Josué, hoy? ¿Cómo estás? Yo diría, estoy bien o estoy feliz, pero yo no voy a decir, yo soy feliz. Like you would have to respond with that, with that. You don't have to. I'm just saying, like an example, like you would respond with that same verb just to make it a little bit easier on yourself. Jean Paul says the Spanish people's expressions are too hilarious. For example, la concha de la lora. Yo no sé qué es eso. ¿Qué significa? Yo sé que significa la concha o la concha, pero yo no sé qué significa la lora. Eso es un animal. Y Raxon J dice sí, yes. Let me look it up. I'm going to go on SpanishDict.com because that's what I always use for my dictionary. I'm going to look up what that word is because I have no idea. SpanishDict.com, and then we'll go to Loda. It's a bird. Oh, it's a parrot. Oh, ok, sí. Ok, ahora yo recuerdo. Es un pájaro. Sí, mira, porque la mayoría de las veces yo siempre oigo la gente diga algo como loro, un loro. But I usually don't hear people say lora. Entonces, también me confunde el nombre como la hora también. Entonces me complicaron esto. Lora y Laura. So Lora is a bird, and then Laura would be like the name of a person. Es un pájaro. Okay. So, ¿qué significa ese chiste? ¿Cómo que? No, yo no lo creo. ¿Verdad? Se puede vivir por tantos años. So, Jean Paul says Lora is a bird. Lora. Roxanne J says pájaro for bird. Roxanne J, tengo pájaro, tiene 26 años. Yo no lo creo esto. Roxanne says, I have a parrot that has 26 years. They actually live that long. Yo no lo creo. Yo no lo creo eso. Es un montón de tiempo. Wow. Qué increíble. Nunca imaginé que vivan por tantos años. Eso es una locura. John Paul says, esa expresión la usan los argentinos cuando algo les sorprende o cuando están enojados. Ok. So, pero ¿cómo la concha qué? La concha de la lora. So, John Paul says the expression la concha de la lora means, let's see here. The Argentines use this expression to express like being surprised and when they are angry. Eso es nuevo para mí. Muchas gracias por compartir esto. Razan J, African Grey. 70, wow. Estás llevando estás llevando muchos hechos a este live stream. Wow. Nunca sabía eso. 70 años viviendo. Wow. That's a lot of time. Una cosa más. Let me know. One thing I want to know from y'all is, what videos do you like? What videos on my channels do you like? That's something I'm interested to know. Because I don't know necessarily what videos people like the most, what videos people don't like, what they want to watch, what they don't want to watch. What videos are you enjoying? I can tell you probably, I don't know if I have a favorite video that I love making, honestly. Claro, John Paul, that is a translate. Yep. Translation, yes. Como no va a ser perfecto nunca. Like, I don't know if como no sé si tenemos una expresión en los Estados Unidos que significa la misma cosita, o como si tenemos una frase igual que eso. Oh, you like the 7 ways to learn Spanish? Oh, that's awesome. I like that one a lot too. It was fun. And it just shows you how many different ways that there are to learn Spanish. Because the first video I did 11, and this one I have 7. So that's 18. 18 maneras o formas para aprender español. There's more ways too. So there might be a part 3. There might be a part 3. I just have to think about more that I've done before in the past. Like, I'm trying to think if there's one I haven't used yet, honestly, right now. I've already used the imitation one. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if I can make a part 3. That'd be amazing if I can. So Raksan Hota, let me know which one of those methods have you used in the past, or the ones methods are you using right now? One of those methods that I always use, usually, I would say is like the script one. I use that one almost on a daily basis. Like right now, I'll go on my phone and then let's see. I'll go on my phone, I'll open up the weather app, and then my weather app is in Spanish. So then I'll try to imitate like a weatherman or a weatherwoman. Como parcialmente nublado. El máximo temperatura de hoy es 88 grados y la mínima la mínima es 73 grados. Calidad del aire moderada. El índice de calidad del aire es de 55 grados, que es similar al de ayer a esta hora. And that's all just from like the weather app on my phone. Or I'll do the same exact thing like with the news. Like I'll take my phone or go look on the internet, and then I'll look up news in Spanish, and I'll do the same exact thing, just like try to imitate what I hear. I love doing that. John Paul says, ¿Sabías que en diferentes países de habla hispana tienen diferentes formas para referirse a sus amigos, como en Perú suelen decir causa? So Jean Paul says, do you know that in different countries that speak Spanish, I think that's how you translate, like siempre se me olvidó, different ways to refer to your friends, like in Peru, they usually say causa. I did not know that. No sabía eso. Les dicen causa a sus amigos en Peru. No sabía eso. I know that in Colombia, I think they say como parcero o parcera, algo así. I know that one. En la República Dominicana, they always say, mi loco. Verdad. Pero ¿qué significa causa? Like, they always say that to their friends, como siempre les dicen a sus amigos así, como causa, como, por ejemplo, ¿cómo estás causa? ¿Así o no? ¿O me equivoqué? Qué raro. Qué cosa. En México, yo no sé qué se dice en México para referirse a sus amigos. México, no, a eso Colombia es como parcero, la República Dominicana es... Ay, sí, eso es diferente, esa forma de decir ese saludo. Wait, claro. John Paul says, ¿cómo estás vos, pecausa? Okay. So they use como se usan la estructura de España, entonces. ¿Cómo estás vos, pecauso? Pero ¿qué significa P-E? Eso yo no sé. En México es güey. ¿Qué onda, güey? ¿Qué hubo, güey? That's one of my favorites. That's probably one of my favorite como saludos en español de México. Es ¿qué hubo? ¿Qué hubo? Which basically means, I wouldn't translate it to English because it didn't make much sense. Ni yo que hablo español sé qué significa P. Sí, eso es muy raro para mí. Eso es súper raro. ¿Cómo estás vos, causa? Ok, eso es nuevo. Yo tengo que hablar con más peruanos entonces para aprender más. Yeah, I don't have any... Dice Perú, ¿verdad? Sí, de Perú. Yo no tengo amigos peruanos. Aún no. Yo no creo que yo había conocido un peruano en persona. Solamente con aplicaciones como Hello Talk, pero aparte de eso, yo, no, nunca. ¿Qué más? What else? How else do they say friends in other Spanish-speaking countries? John Paul says los chilenos dicen, they say we own to their friends or whoever person. Eso también es muy nuevo para mí. Way on. I don't even know how to pronounce that, honestly. No sé cómo se pronuncia way on. Pero en Cuba, yo no sé cómo hay una palabra específica para referirse a los amigos, a un amigo, pero si dicen si dicen para un saludo, es como que bola hacer. I just learned that, como yo acabo de aprender eso hace 2 meses de los cubanos que yo he conocido en el gimnasio. Que bola hacer y mueve sus manos así. Que bola hacer. Muy fuerte. John Paul says, ¿cómo estás, po weón? Like, no tengo ni idea cómo se pronuncia esta frase. Ni idea. Y tampoco nunca había visto esta palabra, weón, o po. ¿Qué es esto? P-E y P-O. Ok, Roxanne J. Está en el gimnasio ahora, gracias, thank you. Yeah, muchas gracias a ti también. Thank you for joining, thank you for listening. We'll keep escuchando, ok. Va a continuar escuchando a Livestream, ok, bueno, muchas gracias por continuando escuchando, por continuar a escuchar. John Paul says, la huella, huellona, ay. La huella, huello, bueno, no, ni idea. Es otra frase de Chile muy graciosa. No sé, quizás eso no es español, eso es el idioma de los nativos. Porque no estoy seguro. Huella, huellona, huellona. ¿Qué significa eso? Realmente. I really don't know what that means. That one's really different. ¿Qué pasó? Ahí está. Pana. Ay, déjame ver, porque se me olvidó. Espérame. Un minuto, por favor, para saber el país de que... Ok, eres de Ecuador. Ok, eres de Ecuador. Eres de Ecuador y utilizas pana. ¿Sabes que también en la República Dominicana les dicen pana a sus amigos? Acabo de recordar eso. They use pana también in Dominican Republic. Mi pana. Like I don't know if it's just like a close friend or if it's like any person, but I know they use pana también. Wow, I did not know they use that in Ecuador. No sabía que utilizó esto en Ecuador. Y ¿cómo se dice la gente de Ecuador? Es como la gente que vive ahí, como el nombre es ecuadoriano, ecuadoriano, ¿verdad? Algo así, ecuadoriana. Me complican pronunciar los nombres de la gente, como peruano, guatemalteco y chileno, sí, ya se me olvidó. Chileno, chilano, chiliano, no sé, como una mezcla de español e inglés. Ecuatoriano, ok, ecuatoriana. John Paul says, también usamos mi guambra aunque no me gusta usarlo. ¿Y por qué no te gusta usar este nombre para referirse a un amigo? So, mi pana, mi guambra. Wow, eso es muy interesante, como de las similitudes entre los países así, con el vocabulario. Guambra, me gusta eso. Suena como un plato. Guambra suena como un plato deliciosa para mí. Es muy anticuado y suena raro. ¿Cómo que anticuado? Anticuado. Yo no conozco esa palabra, yo no creo. Anticuado. And then for male, so a male from Ecuador se llama, you would say ecuatoriano. And then a female from Ecuador, you would call them ecuatoriana. Por los géneros en español. Anticuado. Anticuado significa que es viejo o que tiene mucho tiempo. Ok. So, dice anticuado en español significa means that it is old or como it has like a lot of time. Very old. Ok, entiendo. Anticuado. ¿Cómo la otra palabra sería? Antiguo. Sí, ok. Sí, esta palabra yo conozco, pero esa sí es nueva para mí. Anticuado. Antiguo, antigua, anticuado, anticuada. Y también esa palabra solamente utilizan en Ecuador o no, en otros países también que se habla hispana. Países de habla hispana. Esa frase es muy difícil para decir para mí. De habla hispana. De habla hispana. El John Pose se usa en todos los países de habla hispana. Ok. Y también puedes explicar eso. Este live stream está compitiendo en un clase de español. ¿Cómo se traduce los países de habla hispana al inglés? Would that be like, it's kind of como muy rara para traducir. The countries that speak Hispanic, like that's the way I would, or the countries or Hispanic speaking countries. Sí, no sé cómo se traduce bien en verdad. Roxanne J, voy de compras. Adiós. So Roxanne J says she learned this phrase this week. Yo boy de compras. Adiós. So like I'm going shopping. And honestly, okay, Joe, okay. Honestly, I was trying to figure that out for the past few weeks too, what you just said. Voy de compras, because I was at the store like a few weeks ago and I was trying to think, is it estoy de compras or ir de compras or como, no sé. I was kind of confused on how to say that correctly. So thanks for bringing that up. Yo voy de compras. Or I don't know if like ir de supermercado, if that works or not. I don't know. That sounds kind of strange, but get to see. Pero voy de compras, and that's like when Spanish gets really confusing because you cannot really, that is when you don't want to translate to English or to your native country. Claro, sí, ir de supermercado así no funciona. Yeah, yo no creo eso. Voy de compras. That's like the little translation to that would be I go from shopping, or of shopping. So that's why you can't translate that. You just have to memorize it. Because la preposición de is used a lot in Spanish with a lot of different forms. De is very difficult sometimes. John Paul says the countries that speak Spanish. So that is a translation of países de habla hispana. I just never said it before like that. So that's good to learn. Roxanne Jota, sí, memorize may not be correct. Ir de supermercado no funciona. John Paul, Roxana o Roxanne J, memorize days. Vamos de compras. Says, vamos de compras. Does memorize have a translator in there too or something or what? Yo voy de compras, voy de compras, ir de compras if you're not translating it or if you're not conjugating it. Tengo que tomar un poco de agua para aliviar la sequedad. Porque yo tengo sed a veces. Mientras hablo tanto tiempo, por tanto tiempo, yo tengo que tomar un poco de agua o algo. Hablando por 1 hora. Qué bueno. Con la comunidad. Eso es la mejor. So, ok. Porque yo específicamente, porque yo estoy estudiando español. Bueno, yo diría que eso es una larga historia, pero para que sea más corta, básicamente porque es mi pasión. Me encanta aprender español porque me ayuda a comunicar con todo el mundo, como contigo, por ejemplo. Vamos al mercado. Roxanne, I'll get there in a little bit. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Flashcards, okay. John Paul, okay, sí. Entonces, para regresar al tema, me encanta aprender español porque me ayuda a comunicar con todo el mundo, literalmente, como ahora mismo estoy hablando con dominicano, con cubano, con mexicano, ¿quién más? Guatemaltecos y para otra persona también, cubano, puertorriqueño también. Entonces, yo soy capaz de comunicar con tanta gente y también porque yo soy aficionado de la historia. Me encanta estudiar historia de mi país, de países de habla hispana. Entonces, eso también me atrae de español, porque con español yo podría aprender más de la historia de otros países, ¿me entiende? Entonces, como que como no hay mucha información, conocimiento de la historia de otros países, aquí, por ejemplo, o por lo menos es en inglés, pero ahora mismo yo soy capaz de, claro que sí, es una buena razón, yo soy capaz de aprender la historia de la gente que viene de su propio país. Si yo quiero aprender la historia de Colombia o de Perú, yo soy capaz de aprender de la gente que vive ahí y no solamente como en los textbooks, como en los libros de textos, como de la escuela aquí en mi propio país en inglés, pero en español. Entonces, por esa razón también me trae mucho a español para aprender más, porque me encanta estudiar en general y hay muchos beneficios de estudiar español también, por ejemplo, para que comunique contigo. Eso es una buena razón. Definitivamente me llena con vida. Me llena con vida hablar. Me llena con vida hablar con hispanohablantes. Nunca, mira, yo soy una persona muy callado, en verdad. No me gusta hablar con tanta gente, pero español me empuja a hablar con los demás. Por ejemplo, si yo no voy a caminar hacia otra persona y hablar en inglés solo para empezar una conversación, pero español es la razón que yo hago esto con los hispanohablantes. Cuando estuviera en el gimnasio, yo estaba hablando con cualquier persona que hablaron español. Y sí, eso poder de aprender español y también la atracción de hablar español, porque yo quiero mejorar mis habilidades de mi comprensión auditiva y también de mi habilidad de hablar. Entonces, eso es mi motivación para aprender y también para comunicar con los latinos. Y en donde yo vivo, como en el gimnasio, no, sí fue como si fuera una persona que solamente habla inglés. Yo no voy a como andar fuera de mi propio camino en el gimnasio haciendo ejercicio solamente para hablar con ellos, pero con español diferente porque yo estoy tratando de aprender más, ¿me entiende? Yo diré que eso es una de las razones por las cuales que me encanta aprender español y también para generar más dinero, para generar más dinero también porque yo vivo en los Estados Unidos, entonces hay un montón de oportunidades para tener un trabajo bilingüe, entonces, por ejemplo, yo puedo ser un intérprete en español, yo puedo traducir palabras y frases del inglés al español y español al inglés como por escrito o también a través de como yo voy a hablar y traducir las cositas, o también se puede traducir como letras y cosas así. Entonces, textos, se puede traducir textos de en español a inglés y al revés. Sí, hay otros también, un montón de trabajos aquí. Si tuvieras la habilidad de aprender español. Y otras razones yo voy a, yo voy a dejar de explicar tanto, pero yo había dicho también en otros videos en mi canal de YouTube las otras razones. Pero esto es como solamente un pedazo de mis razones. So yeah, that was a long conversation or a long explanation for why, the reason why I'm learning Spanish. Rezan J says, vamos al mercado. So we were talking about before we were talking about your boy there. Oh, déjame ver in el chat. Your boy de compras. Like I'm going shopping, and then otra frase es vamos al mercado. So we are going to the market. Mm-hmm. So that is using the preposition a. So that was different too. We have the preposition a and then we have the preposition de. La preposición a y la preposición de. Son dos diferentes preposiciones, pero se utilizan por muchas frases diferentes. John Paul, I can help you talking about my culture en Latinoamérica, cultura. Sí, me gusta saber esto. Porque en verdad yo no sé casi nada de Ecuador. ¿Y qué más? Vamos al mercado, vamos del mercado, so vamos al mercado, we're going to the market, vamos del mercado, we're coming, oh no, lo siento, regresamos del mercado, we're coming from the market, or volvemos, ¿cómo se dice? Volvemos volvemos de comprar, algo así. Volvemos de comprar cosas en el mercado. Regresamos del mercado. O regresamos a nuestra casa del mercado. So that gets really confusing in Spanish. Very confusing when you have a and you have they, and you need to figure out when you need to use them. And if you need to like combine a plus l or a plus la, so like a la or just al, that can be very tricky, especially if you're speaking very fast. Like I can mix it up really fast. I'll be like, oh, vamos a el mercado. No, oh, no, yo tengo que decir vamos al mercado. Also, another question, otra pregunta que yo tengo para ustedes. Another question I have for you all is, what other type of videos would you like to see? John Paul says, can you say tres tigres tragaban trigo en un trigal? Claro que sí. So John Paul is asking me if I can say a trabalengua. And yes, I've actually practiced this a lot this year. So I'm trying to say it as fast as I can. Tres tigres tragaban trigo en un trigal. That's really fun. Tres tristes tigres ay. Tres tristes tigres tragaban trigo en un trigal. Tragabar. I don't know como qué significa este verbo. Tragabar. Es una palabra muy larga, ¿verdad? Ortinolaringología. No sé, ¿qué tipo de carrera es esta? Ok, otra vez, va. Otorrinolaringología. Otorrinolaringología. Algo así. Las palabras que terminan con IA. Las profesiones. También me complica. Ok. Estoy buscando en Google. Se dice especialista en oído, nariz y garganta. Ok. Wow. Oh, también se me olvidó el nombre en inglés. Ortino, ay. Sí, eso es bien duro. Espérame. Es una rama de medicación que ayuda a la gente con problemas en oído, nariz y garganta, claro. Suena difícil esa carrera, en verdad. Yo nunca haría eso. No creo que yo soy capaz de estudiar este tipo de área de medicina. Yo diría en medicina en general. Tampoco me falta mucho conocimiento de vocabulario de medicina en el hospital. Por ejemplo, sabes que sería muy difícil para mí como hacer o programar mi propia cita en un hospital y también para tener una conversación con un doctor sobre cómo me siento y cómo siente mi cuerpo. Eso para mí sería difícil y también con la medicina también, con el tipo de medicina que yo necesito tener para recuperarme y todo eso, yo no sé. Yo diría que sería un reto. Pero si viviera en un país de habla hispana, yo tendría que hacerlo o hacer un esfuerzo para aprender este vocabulario. Y mira, esa es la razón por la cual yo no entiendo cómo la gente se puede mudarse a países de habla hispana y vivir ahí sin problemas, sin intentar hablar español. No sé, porque todo es en español y también sí, por ejemplo, si vas al hospital, si vas al supermercado, todo es en español. Entonces, yo no tengo ni idea cómo la gente vive ahí sin hablar el idioma del país. Sería súper difícil porque tienes que hacer todo también como las medidas son diferentes. Aquí utilizamos para la velocidad de los carros miles, pero si voy a México para vivir, utilizan como kilómetros, algo así. También con el peso, no es la misma, o las alturas también. Entonces, como todos diferentes en otros países, y no sé cómo se vive sin hablar, en verdad. Bueno, yo diría que sería muy difícil para mí viajar o vivir en China, por ejemplo, sin saber cómo hablar, cómo hablar. Porque yo tengo que tener todas mis necesidades de vivir, comprar cosas. No sé cómo ir a un departamento para arreglar mis documentos, todo eso. Necesito el idioma. All right, John Paul says, yo un día vi un chino que no supo cómo darme la hora. John Paul says, one day, see, John met someone from a Chinese man that didn't know how to give them the time. Sí, eso es duro, es verdad. Eso es duro. No sé cómo ser capaz de hacer eso. Como no entiendes nada, imagínate, no entiendes nada de nada. No sabes cómo ordenar comida. No sabes cómo pedir por ayuda. Como utilizando este teléfono no funciona bien. No puedes, no funciona. No, yo no voy a, bueno, yo sé que los latinos son muy útiles y muy hospitalarios también y van a intentar ayudarte, pero mira, yo voy a utilizar mi teléfono por todo. ¿Cómo se dice? ¿Dónde está el supermercado? Ok. ¿Dónde está el supermercado? Y voy preguntando a todo el mundo esto. Sería una locura. John Paul says, la incomodidad se puede convertir en motivación. Claro, ánimo a todos los que están aprendiendo español. Claro, yo estoy de acuerdo contigo, pero la cosa es que, por ejemplo, yo diría que la persona que se retirarse y se mudan a esos países, quizás no tienen ese motivo ese motivo ni ánimo para aprender español. Porque solamente quieren, redejarse. Pero no sé, yo no puedo decir, y no puedo hablar por todo el mundo. Y no voy a hacer eso tampoco. Pero es increíble. Es increíble. Estoy un poco celoso para esas personas que pueden hacer esto. Vivir en México sin hablar. Yo creo que como yo tendré mucho miedo, en verdad. Yo tendré mucho miedo para vivir en un país así. Como todos que me rodean está hablando y yo no sé nada de nada. Eso me asustará o me asustaría. Ok, regresamos a la pregunta de hoy. All right, going back to the question of today, are you satisfied with the progress you made last week? 25%, 25% says yes, I am. 42% says kind of. 25%, 25% says unsure. And then 8% not at all. John Paul says, incluso yo hablando español tuve un problema en México cuando dije tomar algo con las manos, pero en México significa tener relaciones íntimas. So John Paul says, had problem, or even speaking Spanish. John had a problem in Mexico with the word coger, which means like to get something with their hands. Pero en Mexico significa tener relaciones íntimas, so like to have a sexual relation with someone. Sí, como yo creo que tiene dos, dos signi, ay, dos, si, dos signi, signa, ay, no sé por qué me está causando tanto dificultades. Significados, así. Dos significados, claro, siquiera o incluso en México, como saben, déjame ver, saben que coger significa tomar algo con las manos, pero quizás se utilizan en otra forma, como la mayor parte del tiempo, quizás es esto. Pero sí, definitivamente depende del país que dices esto. Pero puede asumir por contexto qué está diciendo la persona. Por favor, coge esta banana para mí o algo así, no sé. Coge el control del televisor. Como no te vas a confundir con eso, yo no creo. Pero si dices algo como me coges algo, quizás sí, en esta forma se puede complicar más. Y esa es la razón por la cual me cuesta hablar a veces español con los hablantes, porque yo escucho, yo escucho mucho a la música, entonces yo no sé yo digo que hay muchas palabras que yo digo y que yo he aprendido, y yo no soy tan claro con la definición de una palabra. Por ejemplo, se dice pedo en México, pero esta palabra tiene un montón de significados, entonces como a veces yo vacilo hablando o mientras hablo con hispanohablantes, porque yo no quiero decir algo muy, este, muy desgraciado, ¿me entiendes? O muy grosero, porque yo creo que eso sería muy fácil con unas palabras, porque yo no sé cómo utilizarlas correctamente. Jumbo, so you gotta learn another language. Claro, ya estoy aprendiendo francés ahora mismo. Mientras estudio español, yo intento aprender español, pero más después, como los años que vienen, yo creo que yo estudiaré el próximo idioma sería alemán, yo creo. ¿Y tú? ¿Cuál otros idiomas estás aprendiendo aparte de inglés? ¿O quieres aprender en el futuro? Si tuviera más tiempo, yo aprendería 3 idiomas a la vez. Si tuviera tiempo y también la disciplina. Pero ahora mismo sería un reto, ¿verdad? No me dispongo de tiempo. John Paul está pensando en aprender alemán o japonés. Yeah, so John Paul is thinking about studying German and Japanese. And I've heard those languages are very difficult to learn as well. Very difficult. Probably more Japanese though, because of no sé cómo dice, los dibujos. Son letras, pero en verdad son dibujos. Tomo agua. Un trago de agua. Eso también es otra cosa que yo aprendí. That's another thing that I learned like recently. that you can say like un trago de cualquier tipo de bebida, ¿verdad? Like it's not just like una trago de alcohol. You can say un trago de agua o jugo, right? Yo creo. Un trago de vino, un trago de jugo, un trago de agua. Porque tragar es como un trago de mate. Ajá, si vivieras en Argentina, esta bebida es la una que yo deseo probar. Yo quiero probar, yo quiero probar mate. I really want to try mate one day. So that's just like a very a very like well known and very well known drink in Argentina. Tea, un té, un trago de mate. And tragar, like un trago, that comes from, it's like well, in English we can say different words. Like I know, like in English, like an old way of saying it is like a swig, like a swig of a drink. Like I'm gonna drink, or like I'm having a swig of water or something like that. I'm trying to think of another word in English that would mean the same thing. I don't know if it's like gulp. You want to say gulp, or maybe it's gulp. I'm trying to think. I can't. I'm like forgetting English. También me gustaría tomar un poco de mate algún día. Sí, se ve deliciosa y también amargo también. Pero déjame ver. So yeah, so tragar is to, es como la acción en tu garganta. It's like the action that happens in your throat. Oh, to swallow. Duh. So like to swallow. Porque beber, because like to drink in Spanish is beber, but then tragar is like actually swallowing what you're drinking. Si no me equivoco. Algo así. Tragar. Unless it has other meanings, I'm not sure. It could have other meanings too. Sí, aunque en mi país suelen llamar trago a las bebidas alcohólicas. Sí, oh, yeah, that's what I thought. Y también en la música. So John Paul says, even though in his país, in his country, in Ecuador, they suelen say trago with alcoholic beverages. And I've heard that a lot with like in Spanish music, como un trago. Un trago de alcohol. Un trago, como una cantidad muy pequeña, muy pequeñita, un trago de alcohol, algo así, un trago. Porque normalmente no tomamos algo que quizás eso es la razón por la cual utilizamos trago en esa forma, porque normalmente no, como yo no voy a tomar agua en una, ¿cómo se dice? En ese tipo de contenedor, no sé. Entonces, yo voy a tomar agua en un vaso así, un vaso, una copa, algo así, un vaso más largo. Eso no necesariamente es un trago, pero estoy bebiendo agua. No sé, no sé si es tan complicado, pero sí, yo voy a tomar agua, yo no voy a tragar, o bueno, sí, voy a tragar agua a la vez. I don't want to make things so difficult. Barco Yeager, hola. Estás nuevo, bienvenidos a la fiesta. Welcome to the party. You're new here. That's awesome. Is this the first time that you're on my channel? Or have you been on my channel before, looking at videos before in the past? Falico. I like the name too. Falico Yeager. I'm probably not saying it correctly. Pero tenemos alguien nuevo en el live stream. Qué bueno. But let me know, hola, sí, let me know de dónde es y cuánto tiempo llevas estudiando español. How long have you been here for, or sorry, not how long have you been here for, how long have you been studying Spanish for, and what country are you from? De nada. You're welcome. Jayla Shewai, I watch your shorts. I love the sticky notes on random objects. Ah, thanks. Bienvenidos. Muchas gracias por venir. Yeah, I like making those shorts. And honestly, when I make those shorts, I mess up a lot. Like, no te voy a mentir. I'm not gonna lie. I mess up a lot. So it actually helps me a lot to do those shorts to like help me with my Spanish pronunciation because I look up a lot how to pronounce, what I'm saying before I actually make those videos. But I'm happy they're helping you a lot. And let's see. Like the sticky notes, like I have sticky notes. You probably can't see them right now. But I do have some sticky notes right now in my apartment because I'm learning French. So I use them all the time. They really are helpful. You'll learn Spanish vocabulary really fast with sticky notes. Let's see. Falco says, yeah, okay. So it's the first time on the channel. And Falco wants to learn Spanish. That's great. How long have you been studying, or how long have you been learning Spanish for? Or you haven't even started learning Spanish yet? John Paul says, ¿conoces algunas formas de referirse a tu pareja en español? Yes, I do. Of course. Por supuesto. John Paul asks if I know different forms or some forms to refer to my like partner or like someone I'm in a relationship with in Spanish. Yes. So John Paul says, como por ejemplo, en Chile suelen decir polola. No, that's a new one for me. John Paul says you can say in Chile suelen decir polola. So I've never heard of that one before. But let's see. The ones that I know are mi vida, mi razón por vivir, mi amor, mi amor, si estás en la República Dominicana, mi cielo, cariño. Ay, ¿qué más? El amor de mi vida, mi otra mitad, mi otra mitad, mi corazón, mi luz. La luz que alumbra mi destino. That is directly from a Spanish song. Mi luz, what is it? Mi luz que alumbra mi destino. Literally means the light that lightens up my destination. Oh, también, bueno, podemos decir un montón de cositas. Por ejemplo, podemos decir mi flaquita, mi flaquita. Podemos decir como mi flaquita, mi gordita, mi chiquitica, mi nena, mujer, mi mujer. Hay un montón de cosas que puedo decir con la pareja, un montón de cositas. Con mucho cariño, mucho amor, me encanta. And then Falco here says, I want to marry a Spanish girl. Quiere casarse con una española. Con una española, una mujer de España o una mujer que habla español. Pero qué bueno. Let's see, Jean Paul. In Argentina, they say menitas a las chicas. That sounds honestly like a food. I think that's a food, right? Menitas. Oh, no. Migas en España significa como algo muy pequeña. Migas en España. Jilla Shea Wright. I'm from Jamaica and I'm studying Spanish. Going to do it for no sé qué significa eso. Say X, kind of like SATs. Oh, okay. Kind of like SATs in America, but it's mainly used in the Caribbean. Oh, wow. Mainly used in the Caribbean. Okay, qué bueno. I'm studying Spanish from the 7th grade. Yo también empecé a estudiar español cuando tenía 13 años. And you're in the 11th grade now. We started to study Spanish in department in the 10th grade. Oh, okay, bueno. Felicidades. And are you studying Spanish like outside of your Spanish studies? Or are you mostly just studying Spanish for your Spanish classes? As for you, eso es para ti, Jayla. Jayla Shea Wright. John Paul says, las argentinas y chilenas son muy lindas. Ah, me imagino que sí. John Paul says Argentinians and Chileans are very beautiful. Imagino que sí. I imagine so. Yo confío en ti. Cuenta contigo para decir que es la verdad. Okay. Just you're right. It's a subject in my school, so I do it in school. All right. So how are you liking it right now? How do you like learning Spanish? Para mí, yo soy apasionado de practicar y estudiar español. I say I'm quite passionate about learning Spanish. El input comprensivo es muy bueno para aprender idiomas. John Paul says, sí, claro que sí. Es lo que yo hago casi cada día. John Paul says, comprehensible input is really good for learning languages. I would say yes, and then I would also say no. I would say sometimes it's good and other times it's not. Depende en la etapa, en la etapa que eres en tu camino. Jayla Shea Wright says, es bien, me gusta español porque es muy interesante. Estoy de acuerdo contigo. I can mostly do basic sentences. Okay, that's good. Lo básico. That's basically all you need. You need the basics to communicate. All you need is a few sentences. All you need is a few sentences in Spanish to have a conversation with Spanish speakers. Es la única cosa que necesita, como solamente un par de frases españolas para empezar una conversación y para continuar una conversación. It doesn't have to be super difficult, just simple phrases. That's good. A lot of times when I'm speaking with Spanish speakers, I make things a lot more complicated than it needs to be, and I try to think of like very complicated things to say, very complex words to say, but it's not necessary. So it's best just to stick to like basic sentences. Tiene 16 años. Qué bueno. En la preparatoria y de Jamaica, I think. Jamaica. Qué bueno. I'll love to go there one day. Jamaica suena muy divertido. Ay, Dios. No. No vamos a hacer esta. Barco. Ay. No vamos a hablar de eso aquí. Estamos hablando de español, de cómo aprender español, nada más de eso. Talking about learning Spanish. What was the other question? Oh, yeah. Comprehensible input. The only times I really would say that comprehensible input is not the best is if you're trying to advance your Spanish speaking skills, basically. Si quieres mejorar tu comprensión, mejorar tu nivel de español, básicamente. Oh, Jill, you saw that? Yo tuve que borrar ese mensaje. That's funny that you caught that. Para aprender español, primero tiene que encender 5 velas a las, a las 3 a.m. para invocar al espíritu, al espíritu del español. Ok, yo voy a empezar a empezar a utilizar este método esta noche, ok, o esta mañana, o la próxima mañana. Mira, te juro, las velas funcionan. Yo he oído que las velas, o ¿qué dijiste? A ver, de velas, sí. Yo he oído que las velas como baja el estrés en tu cuerpo. Yo he oído eso. Hay muchos beneficios de las velas, aparte de ser muy romántico, para hacer un ambiente muy romántico. ¿Qué pasó? Oh, nada pasó. Ay, Dios, mira, me faltan palabras para esto. Mira, déjala en paz. Mira, ok. Vamos a aprender. Sí, vamos, ok. Podemos hablar. Claro que sí, súper loco. Podemos hablar sobre frases románticas en español. Si quieres decir algo muy romántico a alguien, primero que nada, no empuja a la otra persona. Like, don't push the other person so hard. Número 2, y puedes decir algo muy amorosa, como, I want to, like one thing I heard, what's like the first thing that I learned was, ay, ¿qué fue? Como la chiste de, como, si te caíste, o si te caíste del cielo porque tú eres un ángel. Algo así, pero yo tengo mi libro de verbo, yo voy a ver para ver la conjugación porque yo olvidé de caer. C-A-Y, C-A-Y, no está aquí. Yo tengo que mirar en mi computadora por la conjugación. Déjame ver un monito espérame un minuto, por favor, para que vea cómo se conjuga. Caer. Te callaste del cielo porque tú eres un ángel. Así caíste. Caíste del cielo. O estás perdida porque vives en el cielo, algo así. Es una locura. Pero hay tantas cosas que pueden decir. No hablas español, no me dices esto antes. Ay, muchas gracias. Ok. Chistes para enamorar a una chica. So, jokes that you can say to enamorar, like to love, to make her fall in love. I see, like, this is what, like, translation is hard from Spanish to English. Basically, like, yeah, to make like a woman love you, basically. ¿Sabes cuánto pesa un oso polar? Lo suficiente como para romper el hielo entre nosotros. ¡Ey! ¡Eso! Me encanta eso. Y para todos los que están viniendo, and for all those who are joining, muchas gracias por venir a la fiesta de hoy. Thank you for joining the live stream. Ahora mismo estamos hablando de los chistes para enamorar a una chica. Aparentemente, no sé cómo salimos de nuestro camino para hablar de ese tipo de cosita. Ay, Dios, mira esta cosita. Esta locura. Mira, no le hagas caso, hermano. John Paul, no le hagas caso, ya tú sabes. No le hagas caso. Vamos a continuar hablando de español, solamente español, ¿ok? No vamos a meternos en esta cosita. No. Vamos a continuar hablando en español. Jayla Shay, right? ¿Todavía estás aquí? Are you still here? If you do, yeah, if you have a question, let me know. And then I'm going to go back to the question. Oh, perfecto. Jayla Shay, right? It says, your videos help me a lot with pronunciation. It reminds me to stop and pronounce my vowels. I basically only have problems with my listening skills in Spanish. It's just it's hard like the words go fast. Claro que sí. Mm-hmm. I like to say, I don't like to say, I do say that personally for me, I think listening comprehension is probably one of the most hardest skills to have. One of the most hardest skills to develop for learning Spanish, because like right now, let's say for speaking, I'd say that was a lot easier it's a lot easier in comparison to listening comprehension. Because with speaking skills, I can help you right now with increasing your speaking skills like really fast. If I tell you, if you're saying the word hola wrong, let's say you say this hola, and I say no, you don't pronounce the H, and then make sure that you stress the O and not the A. So what you're gonna say is hola instead of hola, right? So then so right there, I just fix your pronunciation, and you repeat that a few times, you repeat that like 3 or 4 times, and then you already mastered how to say hola, right? So that's what I mean. But with listening comprehension, it's not that simple just to listen to something, 5 times, and then it's like, oh, I understand 100%. Because listening comprehension is very difficult in that way, because it's one thing to know the basic meaning of a word, but then you also have to understand, that particular accent with that word as well. So that's why listening comprehension is very difficult. There's so much going on, and that's just with one person. Now imagine you're talking with a group of people. So you have a group of Spanish speakers. You have a group of with, like I say, various accents that you're trying to hear, and then you have to distinguish all those sentences and all those words all at one time. It's challenging. Like I was saying beforehand, at the beginning of the live stream, it's taken me like the past 2 years just to increase my listening comprehension for a particular TV show on Netflix. Like when I first started to listen to it or watch this one Netflix show in 2020, I understood maybe like 30%. Now it's up to 80%, but there's still room for me to grow. I still don't understand every single word that every single character in the Netflix show is saying. Like there's still so much more that I don't understand, whether that's like a colloquial word or phrase, or whether that's the accent, because there's various accents in this particular. There's various actors from different countries within this television show. So there's Spanish speakers from Mexico. There's Spanish speakers from España, from Spain. There's Spanish speakers from Argentina. So no, it's definitely a challenge. Trying to understand Spanish speakers from different countries specifically. Not just from like one country. Let's say you master not master one country. Let's say you start to understand maybe 70% of what a Spanish speaker is saying from Mexico, because you've been studying for years and years. Well, there's whatever. Oh, not whatever, but hay como 21 países de habla hispana. There's a lot of countries that speak Spanish. So let's say you master the Mexican accent, different Mexican accents. Then you go to Cuba. Okay, you go to Cuba for the first time. You go there. The first thing that you notice is no entiendes nada de nada de nada. You don't understand anything, even though you've been studying Spanish for, let's say, 3 years. But for some reason, just because you go from one country to the next country, it's like you're a baby all over again. You don't understand anything. And that is what has happened to me multiple times. Like when I went to the Dominican Republic, didn't understand a thing. All right, déjame ver. Is the Spanish Portuguese the same? Well, true. They're different. Mundo en Portuguese and Spanish. Que rica es la. qué rica es la sopa de en portugués we say sopa de mono. Ah, ¿has estudiado el acento española? El acento española, me encanta practicar mi acento con español de España, porque suena muy diferente en comparación con otros países, ¿vale? That's probably like my best Castellano accent or Castilian accent. Ay, Falco, no, no, no. No sé qué, bueno, una locura aquí. Pero, John, ¿qué significa sopa? Qué rica es la sopa de mono. ¿Mono es un animal o no? ¿Qué es mono? O no, o moño, no sé. Yo olvidé de la palabra. Flipado con eso, sí. Me está flipando. Me flipas. Corajo. Corajo también. Me flipas, tío. Tío. Tío, he flipado con eso. They have some really interesting words. Oh, sorry about that. Lo siento, mi mesa estaba moviendo. Corajo. Oh, carajo. Carajo, not cora. Ok. No es, ok. Empiezo con O, no A. Oh, no, empiezo con A, no O. Carajo, no corajo. No, that's so funny how you're able to distinguish those two, because for me they're very similar. The difference between carajo and corajo. Like if I say really fast, carajo, corajo. It's like I can really hear the difference. Este tío da un poco de la mala leche. Ah, mala leche también, mala leche. Ah, ¿sabes un montón de frases españolas? Ese tío da un poco de mala leche. Y voy a tomar un taco de agua. The only thing for me is like with the Castilian accent, I think I only imitate like one person that I've heard speak Castilian, the castellano básicamente. Entonces, como solamente hablo así porque yo he varias veces oído de este acento de España y en los videos de YouTube y todo eso, tío. Like I've heard that accent over and over again. So that's the only one I know how to imitate. But like other Spanish speakers from Spain, I don't know how they sound really. De un poco de mala leche. I like that a lot. And for all those who are joining, déjame saber, like, let me know how you found my channel too. That's something I want to know. How did you find my channel? Y también also let me know if you're sharing my channel with anybody. La chavala quería aprender español de España. La chavala, no sé qué es la chavala. La chavala. But I really do want to learn Castellano because I mean it's like, you know, como like the origin of Spanish, or a part of the origin from Spanish, of the Spanish language, like the, you know, like the root. So that's what I really want to learn. La raza. La raza is root, right? Algo así. La raza. No, dime ver. La raza. How do you say root in Spanish? Root in Spanish. Oh, no, raíz. Sí, me confundió. Raíz. No, la raza. La raza es como race. Falco, Eager. Mi país favorito ahora mismo diría es la República Dominicana. My favorite country so far is Dominican Republic. Chaval, male. Chavala is a female. Es para referirse a personas jóvenes en español. España es coloquial. Okay. I do know there's this one artist from the Dominican Republic. His name is El Chaval de la Bachata. El Chaval. El Chaval de la Bachata. El Chaval de la Bachata. I recommend listening to this guy. He has some really good music. El Chaval. Jilla Shay, right? I was just scrolling on YouTube, and I think because I used to watch a lot of Spanish videos, and maybe this universe telling me that I need to practice Spanish. Okay, bueno. I like to hear that. What? I think you already answered. Let's see. Do you have a favorite video so far on my channel? And I'm very excited for other videos that I have planned and recorded. I'm excited for that. Muchas gracias por compartir mis videos. Qué amable. I haven't shared right. I haven't shared your channel, LOL, but I will share it with my classmate Shirley. Muchas gracias. Thank you for that. I just want the same thing that I just want other people to learn Spanish too. So that's all I want. And I'm hopefully con mi canal yo puedo lograr este método. I'm just trying to like spark the passion inside of everybody to start learning Spanish, básicamente. John Paul asked, did I use Anki? So yes, I have used Anki, but I don't use it that much. Usually I use flashcards. I'll show you. Usually I make flashcards like this, and because I don't like being on my computer or my phone all the time. So that's why I normally don't use Anki. Like I know it's very useful and I can definitely helps for memorization, but I like using flashcards because I don't want to be on technology all day long. Falco Yeager, not answering that question. Okay, that's not related to this right now. That's not related to Spanish. And just say right, I mainly watch your shorts, but I will start to watch the videos you make. Okay. I think I have the spark to learn Spanish. I'm just not that consistent. Oh, you definitely have the spark. if you're watching a live stream about a Spanish nerd, you definitely have the spark. And if you say that I would say you have the spark. You have the fashion. You have the passion, el pasión. Ya tienes el fuego. You already have like the fire inside of you. If you say to yourself, I want to learn Spanish. That's the only thing that you need to say to have that spark already in you. As far as consistency is concerned, that doesn't mean that you don't have that fire in you. That doesn't mean that you don't have that spark in you. That just means you just have to, be consistent. You have to work at it. It's difficult to build your consistency. Para aumentar la constancia. Es difícil, en verdad. Es difícil. Because just like with learning Spanish, consistency is, it's a habit. So you have to build the habit of, learning Spanish. You have to build the habit of being consistent. Like for me, sí, es difícil, pero puedes lograr eso. Okay, let me answer this real quick. Okay, so let me continue on answer your question. So, for example, with consistency, right? I started reading this book in March. Okay, in March, not finished yet. I should have finished like 3-4 months ago, but I haven't yet because I have not been consistent with the reading. I'm still technically consistent with, learning Spanish and studying Spanish, but with other different methods. But with reading, it's been very difficult for me to like make this a priority in my Spanish studies. So that's what I have to work on. I have to work on being consistent with reading because I've only read maybe, I think, 3 books this year or 2 books this year, but I want to read more. But if I want to read more in Spanish, then I have to be a lot consistent with reading, because reading is a difficult skill too in Spanish. It takes a lot of energy, and that's also why I haven't been consistent, because it makes me very tired sometimes to read my book in Spanish. So just because you may lack consistency, I wouldn't say lack it. You don't necessarily lack it, but you have to build it up. You have to increase it. You have to do it day after day. Like for me, I think in Spanish every single day now. Before, I didn't do that. I was never thinking in Spanish like 3 years ago. Now I do it every single day because I have built the habit of consistency. But now I need to build the habit of reading every single day. So then I'll finish some books faster. All right, let's see here. Vamos a ver. You asked because you're among friends. Well, mira. So Falco, like to answer your question, I mean, I have a public YouTube channel, so like nothing is private. So it doesn't matter who you are. Anybody can come to my channel and watch it. It's public. So yeah, that's all I have to say about that. It's a public YouTube channel. Anybody can watch it whenever they want. Camden Bode, muchas gracias por venir. Thanks for coming. Bienvenidos a la fiesta. Welcome to the party. What did you do to get over that learning plateau? Because I feel like I've kind of hit it. Yeah, you know what? I want to say this like in one phrase is just keep going. That's basically all you have to do. Keep studying and keep learning. So Falco, I'll come back to your question, Camden. Falco, yes, like I said, it's a public YouTube channel like this. As long as you have access to internet, you can access my YouTube channel. It doesn't matter what country you're from or wherever. Unless your country has restrictions on watching YouTube, then anybody from around the world can watch his YouTube channel. That'd be nice. Can I get my views up, get my subscribership up? But yeah, it doesn't matter. I don't know. So I think the last time I'm going to talk about that. Anyway, Camden, yeah. So I felt like I hit my intermediate plateau like 3 years ago. And the reason why I felt like that, or 2 years ago now, is because I was tired all the time. I was exhausted. I felt like I wasn't learning a lot. And then every time I was using Hello Talk a lot. So that's a language exchange application. If you don't know about it, is where you can, talk with different Spanish speakers from around the world. And even with them, I was practicing my Spanish speaking with them. And I kept messing. Like some days I would mess up so much over and over again. I couldn't understand why. So that's why I felt like I hit my intermediate plateau, because I was messing up like the most simplest sentences. I was always fumbling over my words. And then there were some days where I couldn't understand my friends at all. So basically for me, when I think of it, a plateau, any type of plateau, it's only a feeling. It's not necessarily a reality, right? So you have to look at it from facts. So basically, what are the facts of your language learning experience, basically? For example, I can say I can't speak Spanish today. I can't understand Spanish speakers today, right? So that's like a feeling. That's a feeling that you have. That's a thought that you have. But what you have to do is think about the facts of the situation. I've had that thought many times. Actually, last night I had that thought, and I said the same thing. I can't speak Spanish. I can't understand these Spanish speakers. I'm not learning. But the reality is, yes, I can speak Spanish. I speak Spanish just fine, and yes, I can understand Spanish. But the reality is, I'm talking to new Spanish speakers, and I've never heard this accent before, this Cubano accent. So the accent from Cuba. This is the first time that I'm learning from, or that I'm talking with, Spanish speakers from Cuba, and for that reason, I say it's just like a feeling. Like you hear that a lot in the language learning community where we're talking about, intermediate plateaus and things like that. For me, it's just a feeling that when I had that in 2020, that my intermediate plateau was mostly because I was exhausted. I was actually studying way too much and I wasn't studying efficiently. And yeah, it was my first time really studying Spanish by myself, so I had no idea what to do. So basically, I was just studying as much as I could every single day, and I burnt out. I burnt out over and over again, and then that's when I started to ask myself, "Oh, how come I can't speak Spanish? How come I can't understand Spanish speakers?" But the reality was, I was really tired, and I was actually pushing myself too hard, and I could speak Spanish, but I wasn't really measuring myself really, really good correctly. I was thinking that I couldn't speak, but the reality was I could speak fine. I had made some mistakes, but I weighed those mistakes more than what I was saying correctly. If I made a mistake, I would say, "Oh, I can't speak Spanish," but you can't look at it that way. Just because you make mistakes, that does not mean that you don't know Spanish. That doesn't mean that you can't learn Spanish or none of that. But I was at that time I was super exhausted, and that's what kind of affected my Spanish learning experience. So I just like had all these bad thoughts about myself basically. So I hope that answers your question. Well, that's like a part of your question. So basically, just continue what you're doing, continue to learn Spanish, continue with your study routine. You may have to change it up a little bit. For example, if you feel very bored with your study routine, then change up your study routine a little bit. Or maybe it's a time of day. Maybe you don't want to read your Spanish book in the morning because it's boring. Maybe it'll be better at nighttime. So things like that. Start to change things up. Try new study methods. I just made a video I published, I think, like a few days ago now, about 7 methods to learn Spanish. Look at that video and see if those types of methods will help you out. But a lot of times when we feel this way, like we're in a plateau, is we're not really in a plateau, because we're not really, you can't, like, how do you measure that you're in a plateau, right? You would have to basically look at how many words that you know today versus, let's say, like a week ago. Like, how many words do I understand? How many words, do I actually know? Can I comprehend? And then you would compare that to a week ago. But if you aren't doing that, then it's basically just, it's basically just like you're feeling. So I really hope that makes sense. Um, but yeah, I mean, there's not much else that you can do besides continuing forward. If you have bad study habits, that could be a reason why you feel like that. If you're exhausted, depending on how you're feeling, that has a big effect on your Spanish learning experience too. If you're exhausted, you may feel like you're not learning, but again, that's just like a feeling, because you're tired, right? If I'm exhausted right now, it's going to be hard for me to even speak my native tongue English, let alone Spanish. So, like, think about it that way too. So it has a lot to do with your health as well. But yeah, definitely try different study routines. You might have to change things up. Maybe not. Maybe it's just you're just feeling this way for say because you're exhausted. Maybe you're burning out. Maybe you're not burning out. Maybe you're kind of bored, or maybe you don't really feel very passionate about it. That happens too. Like, it's not like every single day I don't feel like, there may be days where you don't feel like, studying, you don't feel like learning, and that's completely normal. That's completely normal. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Like, as humans, como seres humanos, tenemos un montón de sentimientos. We have a lot of feelings. But yeah, let me know if that makes sense, please. And if you need more, like, if you have any more questions, let me know. If you need more clarification on what I said, déjame saber. I know I talk really fast. Jill right says, I'm going to practice every day from now on. That's good. I'd recommend that as well. Some people say you shouldn't practice every single day. You shouldn't study Spanish every single day. And I say you should. But I think when we think study, we think, I want to, learn Spanish every day. They're thinking like writing a 5-paragraph essay or they're thinking about doing something, very, very difficult, something very, very difficult, and that's like really stressful. But no, if to learn Spanish every single day, you're going to be doing things that are really fun for you. You're going to be doing things that aren't stressful. They're going to be difficult, but just because it's difficult doesn't mean it has to be stressful. There's a difference. There's a big difference. So, depending on how you feel, you can change what you're studying with something more lighter. So, let's say I don't want to read. I don't want to read 10 pages of this book because it takes a lot of energy out of me. Okay, then I'm going to do something a little lighter. I'm going to watch something on Netflix, or maybe that's in Spanish, or I'm going to I'm going to have a conversation with my Spanish speaking friend, because I can do that because it doesn't take that much energy out of me. It kind of just depends on, your study methods and how much energy it takes out of you for you to be able to study every single day. I mean, it doesn't take long either to study every single day or to practice. And I think study has a whole different conversation on what that means. But for me, study could mean, or practicing, let's say study could just be, oh, I'm practicing my Spanish speaking skills. So, I'm reading out loud. I would say that is a form of studying Spanish. And I could do this for 5 minutes, right? Everybody has at least 5 minutes just to read something out loud for 5 minutes. Like, okay, a los 20 y a los 35 días de estancia, Luisa vino a verme en sendos fines de semanas largos, cada vez 4 noches, right? So you could do that for 5 minutes, for 10 minutes, and I would say that's a form of study. Or you could be thinking more in Spanish, and that's another form of study. So it doesn't have to be, anything crazy. It doesn't have to be anything, very intensive. Like, you don't have to be listening to an audio for an hour long, taking a whole bunch of notes, and et cetera, if that makes sense. Jean Paul, I recommend record your voice speaking Spanish to see your progress. I recommend doing that as well, because you're going to be very shocked. I tell you, you're going to be very shocked to see how much progress you have made, like, over years. Let's say if you started recording today, and then in the next 2 years, you're going to see a big difference. I see a big difference in my videos that I made in 2020. I regret not making more videos. I have some videos from like 2-3 years ago, but they're not many. So I would definitely recommend, they don't have to be long. They could be 5-minute videos. They could be 2-3 minute videos of you speaking Spanish, and then you put that like on a flash drive or something like that, and just have it like in a folder. You can do it by a week, you can do it by a month or whatever. But yeah, definitely track your definitely record your voice and listen to yourself speak Spanish. At first, it seems like, oh, it's not important, but trust me, it's going to help out a lot. Like John Paul is saying, and see, lo dijiste bien. At first, a lot of things that you do when you're learning Spanish, they seem trivial. They seem like they don't work, but they actually do work. Um, just because you don't see progress right away doesn't mean that you aren't actually making progress, right? Like, I did a 30-day record challenge where you record yourself speaking Spanish for 1 minute every single day. And like the first 10, 15 days, I didn't feel like I was making progress. But then I actually started to like watch my videos. I started to analyze them, and then I started to correct myself. And then like the first half of the first 15 videos were very different from the last 15 videos. Jay Shea Wright asked, "Do you have Spanish dreams occasionally?" So I used to dream a lot in Spanish, and for whatever reason, I actually have not had a dream in Spanish. I don't think all this year. It's really weird, but I started to have a lot of dreams in Spanish when I started to think in Spanish. But I don't know why. Actually, I'm not having that many dreams in general right now. But yeah, I have had some dreams in Spanish, and and they're really fun, because sometimes it's like really clear Spanish, and other times it's like not Spanish at all. It's like I'm trying to speak Spanish, but what comes out is just like a mostly English, or it's a mix of English and Spanish. John Paul, déjame saber qué quieres decir con sueños en español no funciona. Déjame saber eso. Learn language, I go to the gym. Josie Rice says, when I study Spanish, I just feel good, like I'm making steps to become better, and I feel like I'm just making progress. Yeah, me too. It's all little by little. And don't compare yourself to other people too. Don't do that. That's not good. Always focus on your own progress. Don't try to don't try to take someone else's progress. Like mine, for instance. Don't say like, oh, Josue, he's done this and this and that. I want to do that too. Just try to focus more on your path. What are your goals? What are your desires, right? I mean, it's nice to be inspired by someone, but try not to compare yourself too much, because then you'll be like, oh, how come I'm not at his level yet? How come I'm not on her level yet? But no, you don't want to be on anybody else's level. You want to be on your own level. Tu propio nivel de español. John Paul says, básicamente aprender español cuando estás durmiendo, eso no lo recomiendo mucho porque no estás consciente mientras duermas. Okay. Goku is the best, but ¿qué tiene que ver con español? Goku's always, yeah. There's no comparison. we're not gonna go there. Termina la conversación. Ya sabe la verdad. So John Paul said, like dreaming in Spanish. So basically, it's to learn Spanish when you are sleeping, and he doesn't recommend that because you aren't conscious when you are dreaming. This is a good conversation. I never really tried it before, and neither do I want to, because I don't want to have my phone on for like whatever 8 hours or 6 hours that I sleep every single night on YouTube or podcast or whatever. I don't want to do that. Number two, I don't think that you're actually going to be consuming that much. I would say it might help you with like accents and like the tones and the pitch of the language. But as far, like you said, you're not conscious to focus on the actual Spanish words that that person is saying while you're sleeping. You can't necessarily hear the words, but I don't know like all the science behind it. I don't know if anybody has like actually tested it and it has worked like 100%. I don't know, but I'm definitely gonna look that up, and we're talking about it maybe in another live stream. I never tried it before. I thought about trying it, but like I said, I don't want to have my phone on for like 5-6 hours. And it is actually, I don't think I can sleep with that. Tampoco. I don't think I can sleep with like Spanish Spanish on. Maybe Spanish music at a very low volume. But that's it. Eso es todo. Una conversación muy rara. But see, what other questions? What other questions do y'all have? For me, I have a question. What is your favorite genre of Latin music? I'll type it in here. What is your favorite genre of mucus? Oh, of Latin music. For me, it's a very, very hard question to answer. Es una pregunta súper, súper dura para responder, para contestar mejor, porque cada género de música latina es muy distinta y a la vez súper hermosa. Entonces, yo no puedo escoger tampoco tampoco yo no puedo escoger. Yo no puedo escoger por la razón por la cual todavía estoy explorando, como estoy conociendo más géneros cada año. Por ejemplo, al principio de este año, yo empecé a escuchar a merengue por la primera vez. Anteriormente, nunca sabía que merengue existió. Oh, claro, que existió. Si te gusta el anime, te recomiendo verlo en español con subtítulos en español para mejorar tu comprensión. Claro, sí, eso es un buen consejo, en verdad. John Paul says, if you like anime, he recommends that you watch it in español con Spanish subtitles to increase your comprehension. Estoy de acuerdo. I agree. And I mean that goes with like any kind of TV show, movies, music. Always put on Spanish subtitles if you can. Always put on Spanish subtitles. YouTube videos too, Spanish subtitles always. So you can connect. So you can connect what they're saying. So you can connect what they're saying with the Spanish word always. Like right now, if I'm speaking English, and well, this is different. This is different form, but like let's just say like I had subtitles on right now, and then you would be reading Spanish subtitles with these English words, so you'd be able to connect immediately. The word I'm saying in English with Spanish, so that would help you be like, oh, that's what hello means, or that's what that means in Spanish. Okay, Jilashe, right? Any tips to help with reading comprehension? Yeah, well, I mean, with reading comprehension, honestly, that one's fairly simple. I mean, with that, it's mostly just increasing your vocabulary, really, over time. Yeah, John says, with, me da mucha risa. Yeah, with Anki, yes, increasing your vocabulary. Because, I mean, basically, a book is just basically words and phrases, right? I mean, it's words and sentences. So you have individual words, and then you have groups of individual words that can make like a colloquial phrase. So, I mean, over time, you're just going to start to have more understanding of what you're reading by increasing your vocabulary. Like right now, if I'm reading this and I see the word principales, right now, let's say I have no idea what that means. Okay, you can look it up. For example, you look up this word up, or you can look at before the word, or you can look at after the word. You can also look at like the few sentences before that word and after that word. Those are some of the things that I do. So context clues. So what are the words that are around this word principales? So we have privados por tres razones principales. Los más altos cargos desconocen. So basically, you would look around principales to see what makes sense. But that's just kind of like with a single word. But like overall, to increase your reading comprehension, really just comes to increasing your vocabulary, increasing the amount of words that you know, and you don't have to know every single meaning. It's just the base meaning. So the more time that you have with the language, the more Spanish speakers that you speak with, you have conversations with, the more that you'll be able to start to understand your reading as well. And yeah, I also just say just to keep reading as well. So don't stop reading just because you don't understand something, but to continue reading. Claro que sí, John Paul. Claro que sí. Dame un minuto. I mean, but for example, too, it depends on the country. So, for example, this book here is written by autor español. Is written by an author from Spain. So the language that he uses in this book, I'm very confused on a lot of the words that I see in this book because they're from Spain, and I haven't really studied the Spanish that comes from Spain. So Castellano. So in this case, what I would have to do to have more general understanding of this book is to consume more content from from Spain, which I have not been doing recently. But that's basically how I would go about that as well. You just continue to consume content. So continue to read, continue to listen as well, watch YouTube videos, watch Netflix shows, and then also talking with Spanish speakers as well. That's going to help you. Because I mean, at least with reading, you have the word in front of you, right? You have the word in front of you, so you don't have to spell it out yourself. You don't necessarily have to pronounce it, but you just have to know what the meaning is. Like you said, comprehension. You're trying to understand what this word means, what this phrase means. So a lot of times you have a lot of phrases and words in Spanish that don't translate well to English. So that's what I mean by consuming content in Spanish, because things will start to click more. Once you start to consume more, once you start to talk more with Spanish speakers. So that's another big piece of advice I would give to you as well. Don't try to translate it too much into English, because it doesn't really help you that much sometimes. I would say like none of the time. You want to get to the point where you're mostly focusing on the Spanish translation, or not. Yeah, the what it means in Spanish. What is the Spanish context, and not what your native tongue is. Like in this case, if it's English, you don't want to think about the English context. The English context is not really going to mix well with the Spanish context, because they have different meanings. So that's what I mean. But that's what I mean by that as well. Just try to focus on what that context is in Spanish, and not too much in English. Let me know if you have any questions about that, or if you have any additional questions about that. Any other questions y'all have? I know I got another question for y'all too. For any of those who are joining, let me know what is your favorite video on my channel so far, and also everybody here, let me know what type of videos you would like to see in the future. I'm trying to explore as much as I can, with different styles of videos to help all of you, learning Spanish, and to just expose you more to Spanish culture, to expose you more to the language in different ways, because there's a lot to learn. Okay. I think I have it on my phone. 1 second here. What's the question at? Oh yeah. Okay. I think I can show you. Ay, ¿qué pasó? So Anki is just an application. So they have a phone application, then it's also a website as well, where you can have different decks. It's like online flashcards. Think about it like that. So you can make a whole bunch of different types of decks, or you can import ones that are already on the internet, and you can study them. And the special thing about Anki is that it's based off space repetition technology. Or I'll just say space repetition, not technology. But space repetition basically is like, 1 second. Let me get my flashcards. So this is what space repetition does in Anki. I have my flashcards here, right? And let's say you have like different buttons that you can choose. And for this flashcard, you say, okay, I understand this. Okay, I understand this. I understand this flashcard. I understand this flashcard. I kind of understand this flashcard. That goes in a different pile. I kind of understand this flashcard. This goes in a different pile. I don't understand this flashcard. This goes in a different pile. I don't understand this flashcard. I'll put this in the other pile. So then what Anki does is it's going to be showing you the flashcards that you don't know the most. So like the ones that you do know, it won't show you those as frequently. It won't show you as frequently. So that's what Anki is all about, space repetition. And you can put a whole bunch of decks in there. So like you can put, like hundreds, probably thousands of words and phrases if you want into Anki. So that's what it's all about. So it's very useful for that, for increasing your vocabulary. So that would actually help you with your reading comprehension very well. Or you can do what I do, and you can do flashcards, or you can do sticky notes. I think you talked about that maybe. So sticky notes. So taking sticky notes, I can put la pared on here, which is wall in Spanish. Put that right here every single day. And when I wake up, I'm going to be looking at, or at least I pass this wall at least once a day, right? So if I pass this wall at least once a day, I come over here, I look at the sticky note, it says la pared. And you don't even have to put any English words on it because you have the image already. So as como seres humanos, we're very visual. So I don't have to put the English on there. I can just put the Spanish. And then every single day I look at this, I see la pared. And I see la pared, then I have my picture, which is the wall. And then I just associate la pared with wall every single day. And the same thing with, anything else in your home. And that will help. And that will also help you with your reading comprehension too. Because now, after you look at la pared, let's say, 10 different times throughout the week or 20 times during the week, you finally have memorized this word, right? After seeing it, after a certain amount of times, you finally understand, what that word is, what that word means. Then you could take this down, right? Because you already know it. And then you can start, studying your other vocabulary as well. I mean, I'm not saying that you would only study this this word, throughout the week. You could have hundreds of, sticky notes around your place, and you're looking at them, periodically throughout the day. But that's another good way to increase your reading comprehension really fast too. Yeah. So that's Anki, and then there you go with sticky notes, and for increasing your vocabulary really fast. So like if you're in your kitchen right now, I'm in my living room. I can right here, I can put la pared, which is wall, but then I can put another sticky note on here that says la sala. Y la sala means living room. So that helps me memorize that more faster. All right, this is la pared, but at the same time, this whole room right here is la sala. It's a living room. And then I'm on my computer right now. I'm sitting on my chair. I can really put sticky notes everywhere. I'll put sticky notes on my table right here. I put la mesa. I put it on. I have a map in front of me. I'll put the sticky note under the map, la mapa, or excuse me, perdóname, el mapa. It's masculino, so el mapa. So like sticky notes are really good for learning. I would say learning vocabulary, like one of the fastest way to learn vocabulary. But then of course you're gonna run out of things eventually. Like if you know every single thing in your home, that will take a while, or that may take a while depending on who you are. There's a lot of things in your house that you can mark. Let's see what else. For example, I'll give you por ejemplo. Si vas a tu casino ahora mismo. So let's say you go into your kitchen right now. What you could do is you could put a whole bunch of sticky notes, or you could just put like one piece of paper on your cabinet. And then on that sticky note, on that piece of paper, you would list out everything that's inside of that cabinet. That's something that you could do as well. What else? One thing I like to do, let's see, you could put things on your fridge as well, on your refrigerator. That's something that I've done too before. You can put the days of the week on your refrigerator. You can put the colors. You could put like a list of colors on your refrigerator. Different groups of vocabulary like that. You could put like a list of prepositions on here, and then you can put this on your fridge. So every time that you open up the fridge, you're looking at these different vocabulary words. So that's a big part of increasing your vocabulary right there, and your comprehension when you're reading, is seeing these different words over and over again, and seeing them in context as well, because you'll get it eventually. And hopefully, Shay, right, that answers your question about Anki and reading comprehension. If it doesn't, let me know. hacer las tarjetas toman bastante tiempo, pero puedes intentarlo. Si no, John, sí, tienes un buen punto, pero es la misma cosita. Mira, es la misma cosita con la tarjeta. La misma cosita. It takes time to make these flashcards. I mean, not that much. I mean, you just have to write, one word or 2 words on a flashcard. It takes time, but I mean, you can dedicate 15 minutes out of your day or 10 minutes out of your day, to write down 15, 20 cards, or more than that. But that's the cost. Perfecto. It answers your question. Perfect. Jean Paul, Jean Paul, me encanta tu, me encanta tu sentido de humor. Pero nada de spam, ¿eh? O de bloqueo. Todo suena, sabe, yo sé que lo que digas es muy serio, pero a la vez tú sabes que todo en español suena súper divertido y suena chistoso. Pero nada de spam, ¿eh? O te bloqueo. Joshe Wright says, how often will you go live? Good question. Buena pregunta. I'm going to try to go live at least a few times a month. I haven't really got that down yet. Like I don't have like a set schedule really. It's just kind of when I can. But I'm gonna try to do at least once a month for sure for right now. At least once a month. If I can do more, I'll try to do maybe one, two. But kind of just depends. It depends on my schedule. But I'm trying to do at least como uno por lo menos cada mes al mes. La verdad que sí, ya tú sabes. Super divertido. All right, we have 18 votes now. I want to talk about these 18 votes for the question of the day. La pregunta de hoy. Are you satisfied with the progress you made last week? We have 22% says yes I am, 44%, 44% kind of. That's 44%, and then 17%, 17% unsure, y not at all, 17. JC, right? Okay, well, I have to go now. Have a good day. Tú también, igualmente. Que se vaya bien. Thanks for joining. Muchas gracias por venir aquí y platicar con nosotros. Thanks for coming. Have a great day. Pero claro que sí, esa es la vida de un estudiante de español. There's a lot of things to do, a lot of things to learn, a lot of things to study. But it's fun. It's very fun. Like today, in a few hours, actually, I'm going salsa dancing. So I'm going to my salsa dancing class, and I'm going to learn some Spanish there. And should be talking with some Spanish speakers, so it should be fun. And listening to Spanish music. Mucha plática, mucha plática. Entonces, quién sabe cuánto progreso tenga? Mucha gente lo deja a mitad de cada camino. ¿Quién sabe cuánto progreso tenga? Mucha gente lo deja a mitad del camino. Claro que sí, es la verdad. Me encanta esa frase que dijiste, yo voy a guardarla. Lo deja a la mitad del camino. So Jean Paul says, who knows what progress one has? A lot of people stop or leave in the middle of their journey, of their way. Y estoy de acuerdo completamente. Es difícil, pero la constancia es la clave. La constancia siempre es la clave de eso. Tienes que tener disciplina para tener la constancia, para seguir adelante y también para bajarte del estrés. Yo creo que el estrés de de alcanzar todas estas metas. Es la razón por la cual hay personas que lo dejan a la mitad de camino también. Claro, sí, el factor de diversión es importante. Sí, claro que sí. La pasión, la diversión, claro. Tienes que hacerlo divertido, tus estudios. Pero bueno, eso es lo que voy a hacer en algunos minutos. Yo voy a hacer este camino muy divertido y yo voy a bailar. Yo voy a bailar la salsa, yo voy a bailar la bachata, un poco de merengue. hay que, hay que tener diversión. Pero yo digo que ahora mismo es la hora de terminar este video para terminar este live stream. I was saying, I think it's a time to stop this live stream in unos minutos, in a couple of minutes, because we don't have a question here. John Paul says, has escuchado de la bomba? And yes, I have. And I think the first time I heard about la bomba was this year, I think. And la bomba viene de Cuba, right? I think it comes from Cuba, la bomba. That's why I love Spanish music. I love Spanish music. I love all the different genres that there are in Central America, South America, España, Africa. There's so many different songs to listen to. I'll put them in the chat just so you know what type of, just a few of them. So we got la bomba, we have la salsa, we have la bachata, we have el merengue, ¿qué más? El merengue norteño, yo creo. Norteño, la salsa, la cumbia. Ok, en el se baila, ¿verdad? Se baila la bomba. Lo baila un par de veces. Los pasos son muy sencillos. Oh, wow. I did not know that they dance la bomba in Ecuador. Wow. La bomba de Shota. That's really good to know. Yeah, I think in a future live stream, we're definitely gonna dive. We're gonna dive very deep into, well, not dive super deep, but just dive more into music and talk more about music, like the influence of like all these different, these different genres of music, like in culture, because like music is basically culture. Culture is music, and music is culture, and it's very intertwined into the Spanish language. So Spanish music and dance is everything when it comes to learning Spanish. Bueno, muchas gracias por todo tu conocimiento y para ayudarme en ese live stream con mi español y también con aprendiendo más frases y más palabras y las que yo voy a anotar en mi cuaderno después de este video. Yo voy a anotar todo que has dicho. Entonces, muchas gracias. Muy amable. Entonces, muchas gracias a todos por venir a este live stream. Thank you very much for all those who have come to this live stream, and for all those who are going to be watching the replay. Let me join the conversation as well and make comments. Make your comments if you have any questions about the live stream, anything that we talked about the live stream, in the comment section. And yeah, thank you all for your support, por tu apoyo o apoya, algo así. Yo creo que es apoya. I'll look it up. Claro que sí, ya tú sabes. Con gusto, hermano, con gusto. John Paul, con gusto. Apoyo. Gracias. Thank you for helping me with my English. Claro que sí, ya tú sabes. No hay problema. Estuve aquí para eso. Entonces, nos vemos. Un beso y un brazo fuerte de los Estados Unidos. Nos vemos pronto. Hasta luego. Que se vaya bien. Que tengas una buena noche. Adiós.